Pregnant. What silly phrases people use. In the club, up the duff, a bun in the oven. This one is better and is true. Heavy with child. I swell with you. I hunger for you. I'm so besotted with you, I want you out of me. I want to see you and hold you skin to skin right now. Like everything in life, there comes a time with pregnancy when enough is enough, even for a putative mum. Well, it won't be long now. A week, perhaps less. I'm making this book for you while I wait for your appearance. I started putting it together as soon as I knew I had conceived you. I planned to give it to you on your 16th birthday. You see, a few weeks after you were born, I'll be 20. And I'm sure these two events will bring my youth to an end, because after that, I'll be a mother and no longer an irresponsible adolescent. So this is kind of a portrait of myself as a teenager. I hope we will read it together when you're 16 and I'm in my late 30s, so that we can share the years of our youth, you in the flesh and me in written words, and find out how similar we are and how different. You move in me as I write this and kick with pleasure like a penalizing footballer. You brazen bambino. I know you're a girl. I didn't want to know, but a garrulous nurse blabbed the news after a scan. I wanted it to be a surprise at the moment of your entrance into the world. You're coming out and you're coming in. But I admit that I wanted you to be a girl, it being our time now. Before I go any further, I must tell you a secret and make a confession. The truth is, you were not my first ambition. A different mothering occupied me before you were planted inside me, and still does. Will you be jealous of your older sibling? Will you be rivalrous? Here is how this other seed was sown. Sitting in a bus with my best friend, Izumi Mushida, on our way home, late one night when I was about 15, I saw my face reflected in the dark window. Suddenly I thought, this girl, this me, will be old one day and will die. What will be left of her then? I told Izumi. She said, you'll have children, won't you? That seemed to be enough for her. Her question startled me. Naturally, I thought of having children, but I knew already it would not be enough for me. The way I'd live on in a child wasn't the way I wanted. Children have their father in them as well as their mother. Children aren't their parents, they are themselves. If anything is to be left of me, I want it to be of me alone. As soon as I got home, I wrote a poem, the first of many. Not as a school exercise, not for a competition, and not because anyone asked me to, but because I had to. Writing it wasn't an option, something I chose to do, but a necessity. And when I'd written it, I knew I'd found the answer to my question. Face in the window, reflecting on reflection, window pane, written on glass, in memoriam. At the time, I didn't know whether my poems really were poems. I've always loved poetry so much that I didn't dare to claim the honor of the name poem for my scribblings, so I called them Cordelia's mopes. Perhaps I should have called them soupçons, a taste of the real thing I hoped to write one day. All I knew was that my mopes said what I needed to say in the way I needed to say it, and that was my only ambition, to be a poet. These pages are like my mopes. Some of them were written, like this page, while you were growing inside me. Others come from what I call my pillow book, written in the years from the day I wrote my first mope until now. It doesn't really matter when I wrote each one, only that I've put them together in an order that tells you the story I want to give you. It's a bit of a hodgepodge, a veggie soup of a book, but it's full of the best ingredients from my own organic garden. Of course, It's not about everything that happened to me, because no story can contain everything. There'll be plenty of time to tell you about other things while you're growing up. And as all the stories must begin at some time and with someone, I'll begin mine with the day I chose William Blacklin. 3 months before my 16th birthday, I selected William Blacklin as my first proper boyfriend, by which I mean my first boy for all out, all in all the way sex. I chose him from very few candidates I considered suitable, and after many days of careful thought, detailed assessments of his qualifications, and inquiries into his personal habits so discreetly conducted that I'm sure I could get a job with the Secret Service if I ever wanted one, which I certainly do not. He was the only boy whose looks blushed my E-zones with the feather of desire, and who also had the other necessary attributes, such as brains, balls without bullshit, and a sufficient grasp of at least a few of the basic social skills. Like, for example, knowing how to eat with the mouth closed, and how to hold a conversation with a girl for more than a minute without turning it into either a monologue about his wonderful self or an infantile plus obscene comedy show. And one more essential requirement. The word in the girls' loo was that Will had already had a bedtime girlfriend or two, but was A, very choosy, and B, currently celibate. He was definitely not the sort who slept around. I wanted someone with enough experience to show me the way. I hated the thought of not knowing what to do and how and when to do it, and of not getting it right and making a fool of myself. But I wasn't looking for a Lothario, nor a stud, nor a mere organ grinder who only wanted to light his wick, dip his stick, pump his piston, pocket his trench and score a home run. Boys have such delightful, subtle phrases for sexual intercourse. In sum, Will Blacklin turned me on, was acceptable in his personal habits, was reported to be basically knowledgeable in matters genital, was choosy of his partners, and was currently soulless. Goody! The field was clear, and Master Blacklin was a worthy candidate.